Yo, welcome to the Young Vagabond podcast, where we're talking about how to endure the journey of life together through truth and love.
Episode 6,
Yes,
final
sir.
episode. Can't believe it. I can't believe it's the final episode. That's actually like crazy to me.
Well, you better believe it, bro.
Like the fact that we've done a whole season of Young Vagabond is like, that's insane. Bro.
Nah, facts for real.
Like that's literally insane for like, because this really started as like an idea.
A joke.
Well, yeah, a joke of y'all should do a podcast, and then freaking like just going for it, and then Lord really be in the midst. Like literally, I looked today, y'all. We have 400, I think, and 6 followers on Instagram.
Thank y'all.
Clap it up. Thank y'all.
Yes.
We got 102 freaking YouTube subscribers.
Yes, sir.
Got 10, like over 10 hours or so. Actually, I think over 100 hours. Excuse me, over 100 hours of watch time.
Yes, sir.
A couple thousand views. Like literally, clap it up for y'all guys because y'all are the Young Vagabond tribe. But anyways, man, we are here today, man. I just want to say real quick, shout out to all the people who promote. Shout out to all the people who are a part of the process. We are so thankful for you guys. If you haven't already, please consider either subscribing if you're on YouTube, following if you're on Spotify or Apple Music. We really appreciate it. If you like what we've been doing over these past few episodes, or like what you hear today, please consider, sharing it with somebody. It really means a lot to us. Once again, we're going to tell our man Travis, thank you as a producer who helped put everything this together. And we have another background person here today.
Yes,
shout out
sir.
Verge. You've heard us talk about Verge a lot. We appreciate you, Verge. He's just here. But he's a big integral part in the content that we're able to deliver and the wisdom that comes from it. And once again, we'll be sharing some testimonies here today. But we want to encourage y'all, if you guys, if Young Vagabond has impacted you in any way, please feel free to reach out, send us either a DM or Instagram, leave a comment. We really appreciate those things. It helps keep us going. It's really big, and so yeah, we're just so thankful to be here, man. So what do we got in episode 6 coming up?
Episode 6, man. So like you said, we're going to talk about some testimonials, bro. One that stood out to me heavily was my cousin, bro. My cousin JT reached out to me via DM, and he told me that seeing the podcast touched his heart. And he was like, that made his week. And I was just like, dang, because we haven't talked in a long time. And it's like, wow, bro.
Yeah.
Like the words that we say, the obedience that we display, like, is actually planting seeds in somebody else's life. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. And then I had a moment that was like so surreal. You know how like you find an artist that you like and they blow up?
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, I knew about him before all y'all did. Like, I had somebody from home, shout out TD. He came up to me and he was like, yeah, my mom was talking to me about the podcast. And he was like, yeah, but I been knew about it. And I was like, hey, that feel good as freak. And then Archie, in that same conversation, Archie walked by. He was like, yo, man, y'all keep doing what y'all doing. So, like, y'all support, bro, that means a lot. Honestly, it means a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, it literally means the world. I mean, like, it's crazy. Like, talk about surreal. It's surreal to me to, like, be walking on campus and have people stop me and be like, hey, you have a podcast, right? And me being like, yeah, I'm one of the hosts of the Young Vagabond podcast. And that is like, what? You know what I'm saying? And like, I literally yesterday, shout out Manish. I told him I remember his name. So shout out Manish. He had stopped me because I saw another one of my friends. He had stopped me and he was like, hey, I saw your clip on the, ask people how you're feeling instead of how they're doing, which thank y'all for blowing that up. They got over 6,000 views on Instagram.
Almost 7K.
Yeah, almost 7K. Had a dude with 100K followers repost it. So shout out to you. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
That's huge. But anyways, yeah, he was like, I saw that video, and like I really liked that. That was really good. And so it's like, dang, bro, like this, the impact is actually being made, and that's a huge thing for me. But yeah, just having people come up and stop, and it's really encouraging to hear that. And I think I only brought here one testimony, but it's really long, so y'all buckle in, y'all. Strap in, because but this like literally touched my heart. It almost brought me to tears. And this was just after the first episode, but this person She had said, I finished the first episode of the podcast, and I just want to say I am so excited. I grew up completely surrounded by the faith, and college has been a huge chance for me. My community back home was strong throughout high school, but since moving here, it's not been easy. There's a lot of loss and a lot of tragedy and a lot of life that you don't get prepared to handle, especially not as a good adult or as a good Christian. My dad teaches in the seminary, and my mom is the director of religious education in my, I think that's parish. I'm not sure what parish. I felt so stable and rooted in my faith in high school. I started college, and within the span of a semester, I had a whole series of medical issues around mental health diagnosis. My retired pastor and his associate were kidnapped, and some other really crazy things happened after that. And it was just in a small town, like, which is insane. And my boyfriend and I were realizing we had no clue how to figure out how to fulfill a relationship in the eyes of God. It really felt like my life was falling apart, trying to manage grief, chastity, doubt, mental health issues. All of that is a lot harder when you feel alone in going through it. What y'all doing is needed right now. That was the realest talk I've heard on faith and mental health in a long time. And I can't wait to see what comes next. And that's like, dang. But like, that's literally piercing to my soul, because it's like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's about helping. I mean, like, I got a chance to go to the, it's called FAMSU. It's the Fellowship of Atheists, Agnostics, and I forget, Secularists or something like that.
Yeah.
I went to their meeting, and I was kind of just talking to them because I'm cool with a bunch of them. Shout out to Ryan if you're watching.
Yes, sir.
And like, I was just telling him, like, this is what the podcast isn't, about communicating any sort of agenda or anything. It's about helping. It's about sharing the wisdom that we've gained through our life experiences, and hopefully blessing you guys with it, and to see that and to hear that, it encourages us to just keep going, because if our words are able to, and we all always give glory back to God, because God is in the midst of all of this. But if our words are able to impact and inspire and help somebody, that makes all of this worth it. I mean, like, literally, we had to shout out Verge again. He got his mechanical skills working because our audio interface was about to give out, and we were struggling to try and get that all working. But it all becomes worth it. And it's 11 o'clock. Like, we got finals to take, but like I said, it's all worth it when we get to see the impact that is being made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and something I feel like just hit my mind, bro, is like, you got to think about it. We both have had like insecurities when it came to speech. We both have struggled with the notion of like whether we talk too much, whether we're doing too much. But like the fact that people are pouring back into it, saying like, yo, like the words that you're saying, like, they're feeding life to me. That means a lot, y'all.
Yeah.
So y'all just keep supporting, and we just gonna keep trying our best.
Yeah. For sure. No, I mean, like, being vulnerable, like, pretty much with the exception of like episode 5, I've left every episode like, we need to re-record it, because I felt, oh, I didn't say this, I should have said this, like, oh, I sounded really stupid here, I talked too much on this part. Like, all of those things are constantly replaying in my mind, and sometimes it's really hard to like just even upload the footage. But like, one thing that like the Lord is constantly reminding me is that it's not about me. It's not about like, if I sound really good when I communicate, whatever. It's about you guys, and it's ultimately about giving glory back to God. Like, we started this podcast not for us. We started this podcast to be able to impact people. Yeah. And so whether or not the way I say something is beautifully and eloquently put, God is in the mix, and I believe that. And so he's going to be able to impact, regardless if I say something in the way that I thought to say it. And so I think that is so huge. And been so big for me, because like I said, sometimes it was hard to put out that content, but it's been so worth it because the impact that we're getting to make. And I think if I could encourage anyone who is maybe thinking about starting something, because I've come up and a lot of people talk to me and been like, I want to start a podcast, I want to do this or that. Go out and do it, man, because you don't know what you're doing, and if you do it genuinely and you do it with the right heart and spirit, how you can impact people. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. I think it goes back to that white belt mentality. Just start.
Yeah.
Because, man, like, each time we step in front of these mics, we're fighting against insecurities. We're fighting against, like, the past or anything. Because you got to realize, man, like, episode 2 is a tough one for me. And, like, anytime I talk to anybody about the podcast, I'm like, I feel like episode 3 and beyond was, like, that's where I got comfortable, because episode 2 was like, that's when I was quiet, you know, because I was like, dang, I talk too much, or this, that, and the third. But like, the same way that we get up here and we fight against insecurities we fight against ourselves, like, you guys can do the same. Because like, we're just two 19-year-olds that trust the Lord. That's the only thing. And so like, if we can do that, y'all can too.
Amen. Coming out with the no, like, literally, praise God. Like, it's been dope. And so yeah, we're we'll be taking a break for this summer season, working, learning, growing in our own wisdom. There's a scripture that I just read today, Luke 2:52. Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor, and that's the plan over this summer, so that we can hopefully come back and continue to. Yep, I'm gonna be 6'3". Yep, I'm gonna be huge, and
That boy D1.
yeah, D1. I'm gonna be on the Mississippi State basketball team. And hopefully just continue to be a blessing to you guys. And so, yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm excited for what this next season has for us, and how we're going to be able to impact. But, we don't really have a concrete plan for how this episode is going to go. But one thing that we did put on our story is to do a short Q&A. And we only got 3 responses, but we're going to answer those 3 questions with the best to our abilities, you know what I'm saying? And so I guess to go ahead and start off, I'm gonna pull it up on my phone, if my Face ID will work, but it's okay, we're gonna keep it. I think the first question, right here, is, what was your favorite episode or quotes? You can do both or one.
Dang, that's tough. Favorite EP. Discipline was hard. Discipline was hard. Episode 4, right?
Yeah.
Discipline was hard. And then I was splicing up some things today for clips for episode 3. Bro, you were spitting.
It's a coffee.
I ain't even gonna hold you, man. Accountability and vulnerability. Y'all go rewatch that joint. And like, kid was spitting.
Hey, look, man, that's my bread and butter. There we go. Bread and butter. There we go. Man. No, for sure. I think, like, episode 4 was pretty. I literally was. I used something that I said out of episode 4 today. Like, literally on the way here, someone had stopped and asked me, like, how do you, like, keep up with your schedule? Because I do a lot. I'm really busy. Yeah. And I was just kind of like explaining to her, like, these are some of the things I do, and she was just asking, like, okay, how can I be more disciplined? Because that's what I was talking. Like, it takes a lot of discipline to be dedicated to a schedule and the time management. And, I had to drop in that shameless plug. I was like, you want to learn about discipline? Watch episode 4 of the Young Vagabond podcast. But then I was like, no, but like, for real, one thing that you can do is keep your promises. Like, learn to be a person of integrity. Because if you can learn to keep promises to other people, you can learn to keep promises to yourself. And she was like, dang, that's good. And I was like, that's on episode 4. Like, that's what I said. But I think for me, episode 5 was also really, really sweet. Bro. That has to be like, I'm going to think about that episode for a long time. Just even like having Travis, showing Travis's face on there, and just getting to reminisce about just the amazing community. Because it's like, these past 2 weeks, I've just been like, it's been really apparent to me, partially because I'm getting ready to go back home. Yeah. But like, it's been really apparent to me just how much God has blessed us with the community that we have. I mean, like, Chi Alpha, we had our final kickback. We had the Chi Alpha kickback. You got the picture? I don't know if they can see it, but we may be able to put that. If you're watching on YouTube, we might throw that up there. But the Chi Alpha kickback was, it was like what, 60 to 80 people there. We were deep. We were deep, and it was awesome. I mean, just godly community all around. We had this panel discussion that we were part of, which hopefully we'll be able to put out that as a bonus, some bonus content when we get ready. But once again, our community showed up deep. I mean, like, we had people pulling up chairs, like, from other rooms to be a part of it. And it's just like, dang, this is the community that we've been blessed with. And so, it's God who's been in the midst, but like our obedience and the like our intentionality to be a part and to build that community. Episode 2 of the podcast. Our intentionality to create that community has been a big part. And like I'm so blessed by my community, and that community's elevated me to so many areas. And so I wanted to be able to tell people about how I built that community. And so I think episode 5 is so special because it was a great time to reminisce on the community that we have, and hopefully be able to bless people to start building their own like godly communities of people. Just a community of people who are going to elevate you, whether you're Christian or not. You want a community of people who are going to elevate you.
Yes.
And I think that's really what we have. And so, that's what I'd say episode 5, episode 4, episode 5. I mean, all of them great, but like those are probably ones that we were most comfortable in, and like I think it was the chemistry and the flow was really good.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's the first question. The second question, once again, if my phone will work, is the origin of the name. So that's what somebody asked. So the short answer is to watch the first episode of the Young Vagabond podcast. Hey, there's going to be a lot of go back and watch these. Go back and watch all of them if you haven't. But
bro was walking promo,
all the time, bro, all the time. Because I mean, people be asking me questions, and I'll be like, "Why tell you now when you can go and look at a podcast and rewind it?" You know what I'm saying? And hear it back. You know what I'm saying? Because after our conversation, you can't rewind the conversation. Anyways, so like I was saying, but the vagabond, young vagabond, it stems from the term vagabond evangelism, which means to be a vagabond is someone who wanders and is not stuck to one place. And we as believers are called to not be stuck to one place. I think a lot of Christians get stuck in this social clique mindset where like it's us four and no more. We stay within our Christian bubble and we never leave out of it. And what young vagabond evangelism and what Young Vagabond is all about is that it's about not being this little closed off group. We're a tribe of all the people who are going to be here, Christian, non-Christian, black, white, whatever it looks like. We're all a part of this community. Oh, it rhymes. But like vagabond evangelism, it's about spreading the love of Jesus to everybody and wandering around, not being stuck to one place, but going from place to place, telling people about Jesus and showing love, because that's what the gospel is all about, is loving other people as Christ first loved us. And Young Vagabond, it combines that, what we talk about in the first episode, that childlike faith. And that's as children of God, we're not supposed to be like childlike, but we're supposed to have childlike faith. I mean, we are stepped into our manhood, and we have people who stepped into their womanhood and stuff like that. But we're always supposed to have the hope and the faith of a child. Like we're always supposed to believe that things can be better than they are now, and have that idealistic look. And so we're young vagabonds. We have the hope and the idealistic approach to showing people love and helping people walk out that journey in truth and love.
Yeah, not acting childish, but believing childlike.
Yeah. He summed it up beautifully. That's beautiful, man. Now, did you want to add anything to that, or like what Young Vagabond kind of means to you?
Like you said, bro, we're a tribe on a journey together. Just doing this thing called life together, and just enjoying it together, man. Growing, learning, and loving on each other.
Yeah, that's really what it's all about. Okay, the last question that we have on here is, what is your biggest takeaway from the first season?
Man,
if you don't have, I can go first. I think for me, it's learning to be myself. Like I think first episode, it was easy to come out as like this over the top big personality, because that's like, I did theater as a kid, so I'm like the you know what I'm saying, and that's not what this is about. We're about being, if we talk about vulnerability and authenticity, we got to be vulnerable and authentic on this podcast. And so there was sometimes I wanted to create this image of who I thought would be the most palatable version of me to push out. Yeah. But that's not what the world needs, and that's not who I am. So why put out that fake image? We have enough people putting out a fake image. And like we see in these testimonials and stuff like that people just crave that real authentic, like, this is what life actually looks like. This is what life as a Christian and a believer actually look like. It's not all sunshine and roses. Sometimes there's dark moments. Sometimes it's hard. I mean, I've talked about, like, there was, like, even last episode, there was some things that had me shaken up about. Like, I just had some things I had to walk with family health issues and some, like, identity theft stuff that I had to deal with too. And it was just like, it was a lot. Like, I was feeling stressed out about it, but like, you know, I wasn't going to sugarcoat it or pretend that everything is all right. And so I think that's a big thing, is that, like, it's okay to be authentic, to be yourself, because people, you know, because people are so used to the fake, that really respect when you're authentic.
Yeah. No, and I think I can relate to you on that, just being yourself, because I feel like I said, episode 2, I was so worried about other people's opinions that, like, I silenced myself. Yeah. And then, like, something that's been big for me this semester as a whole is just being comfortable with who God made me to be. And, like, when I realized and I accepted that I'm sealed and stamped and approved by God already, that, like, I can just be myself in any room I go into, I was just like, man, like, changed my whole outlook and perspective. And the way, like, the podcast challenged me to do that was how conversations with you and Travis, like, you told me, you was like, Bryson, like, because, you know, I'm goofy, bro. Like, I laugh, joke 24/7 unless we, like, need to chop it up for real. But, and you were like, bro, I need you to bring that same energy on the podcast. And I was like, all right. Yeah. All right, bro, I got you. Even though your forehead big, I got you. but like, and then, like, Travis told me, he was like, why would I be worried about what people say about me when they not even happy with themselves? So I was like, you know what, Travis? I felt like Creed. Run it.
No, but that's real though. See, that's why I grew these dreads out, because I need something to cover my forehead.
Hey, bro, I can't talk. My head big too.
Hey, bro. Oh shoot, when he cut his hair off, I had a field day.
One of the darkest moments of my semester. Man, laughed at me for 3 minutes straight, man.
But like, I think that's real though. I mean, like, even what Travis said. First when I heard, I was like, dang. But he's spitting though. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're so obsessed with what other people think about us, but, like, all the time that we spend thinking about what other people are thinking about us, that's the same thing that everyone else is doing. Yeah. Like, everybody's focused on what everyone else is thinking about them. So no one even is paying attention to you. Like, I think that's, like, that sounds mean, but that's really liberating. That, like, nobody really cares about what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Unless you make them care. And, like, so we get so paralyzed by, like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, what are they going to think when I do this or think of when I do that? That we completely, like, miss the mark to even go out and do anything.
Watch
you know
this.
what I'm saying?
We get paralyzed by false perspectives.
Literally, bro. Paralyzed by false perspective. That's literally, I mean, even in my own life, bro.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Yeah, like, I talked about this in the panel discussion, and, like, I had posted a video on it for the people who follow me on Instagram. Like, I was making this, you know, I make stupid videos for, like, promoting the things I'm a part of, and, like, I was trying to make this stupid video. I made a script for it and everything for this panel discussion that we got to be a part of, and I got so in my head about, like, oh my gosh, this is not the highest quality that people are expecting from me, that I deleted it. And not only did I deleted it, I, like, felt so bad. I coped by, like, spending, like, 2 hours on Instagram. I didn't go to bed till that night till, like, 4 o'clock in the morning for no reason. And it's just like, I got so paralyzed by the fear of false perspectives that I lost sight of what I was doing the video for anyway. And I think that's what we do a lot. We get so focused on what other people are thinking and doing that we forget the whole purpose. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think when, you know, going back to, like, wisdom to, like, people who are creators or want to be creators is that, like, define your purpose and stick to it. You know what I'm saying? You can't focus on what everyone else is doing, because if you start focusing on what everyone else is doing, you'll always be unhappy and you'll always be ungrateful. And, like, you were put on this earth for a purpose, so live out that purpose and don't let other people's perspectives or opinions, or not even their actual perspectives, but your perceived perspective of what they think about you, keep you from going out and doing what God has for you.
Facts. And I was spicing up clips, like I said earlier today, and I was looking at episode 1 and some other episodes, and something that I noticed that we touch on a lot is being uncomfortable. And because you went through that experience of embracing your insecurity in that moment of uncomfortable, in that moment of you being uncomfortable, you were able to like touch lives, bro. Because like the video that you end up dropping touched a lot more people than it would have if it would have
Yeah.
been like funny and joking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
So like, I think we have to learn to look at our weaknesses as strengths. Because like, okay, Jaden Joyner, shout out Jaden Joyner. He has a podcast, but he also has a speech impediment. And like, do you know how big that is? Like having a podcast, but he stutters. But the fact that when he speaks on a pod, you hear that man speak clear, crisp,
Yeah.
and clean.
Literally.
And I told him, I was like, bro, like you don't even realize your life is such a testament for so many people, because like once people find out that he has a speech impediment, they look at the podcast whole
Right.
differently, because like it takes a whole different level of strength to use your insecurity and channel it as a strength. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So like I commend you, bro, because you
appreciate that.
used your insecurity of perfectionism and you allowed that to propel you to be vulnerable.
Right.
So like y'all let your insecurities propel you. You know what I'm saying? Because like you never know who needs to hear your story.
No, it's encouraging. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, because it's encouraging to me when I hear people. Because I mean, like, I sometimes trip on my words and stuff like that. And
I just did.
and I get so obsessed. It's because like it needs to be perfect. Because like I come, like I said, from a theater background where you hit your lines and you gotta say them, and so I obsess over the little things. But it's like when you embrace, you know, where you struggle at, like you don't know how you're going to encourage another person to go out and lead them. And like we talked about this, you know, on the panel discussion, that it only takes that one spark to set a whole blaze. Like you don't have to start like a podcast that like has a bunch of like thousands of people listening to it every week, and or be someone who's on a stage with like 10,000 people on it. You just need to impact the one person, and you don't know how to impact, and that one person can go out and impact so many other people. And so, yeah, I think that's those are kind of the big lessons of stuff that we've learned. And, you know, it's been fantastic just being a part of this process and all the things that we've learned, because there's so many things that we, you know, hopefully continue to get to share and continue to get to encourage. But I think as we wrap up for our first season, which so sad, but, you know, we're going to be back. I think it's important to cast vision of what we are planning to do next. So my question to you would be like, what are you most excited about for season 2?
Season 2, the big thing is guests, bro. Guests, because we got Verge here, but Verge is not on the mic. You know what I'm saying? So we need this man on the mic ASAP.
Y'all do need him on the mic.
We need him on the mic ASAP. Also, man, I'm looking forward to just refining editing skills over this summer.
Yeah.
So we can get out some more clips.
Yeah.
More clips. But what about you, bro? What you looking for?
No, I think I agree. You know, this is really the training arc. You know what I'm saying? Like this, the Goku, you know, in the gravity chamber or in the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah.
Like this is the time to go, because like this, like I think a lot of people don't use their summer for intentional growth. I mean, it's a time for intentional rest, but it's also a time for intentional growth.
Yes.
You're not doing that much, and so we fill our schedules a lot of time with these pointless things or things, or we just, you know, are on TikTok for 4 hours or Instagram for 4 hours,
Yes.
and you know, there's nothing wrong if you do that, you know, one day, because you know it's your break, but use this time to be intentional. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be looking intentionally growing my craft. And the way that I make videos, edit videos, how I create Instagram posts, all of those things. You know, that's what it's about. Is improving, and then, you know, coming into the next season, I'm just excited. We have some just really cool things down the pipeline. Like, you know, we've hit up our buddy Aaron. Shout out A Lamp Productions. Shout them out.
Man,
Search
nice
them
one.
up. Literally, bro.
Yeah.
A Lamp Productions on Instagram. If you're, you know, in the Starkville area or just in Mississippi and want some photos taken, he does an incredible job. Yes. But we're gonna get to do a photo shoot with him. We're working on like setting this Young Vagabond as a like actual vendor, so we can start making merch and putting out the merch, because we have such a fantastic graphic. Like really, we have two fantastic graphic designers. I mean, I do a little something with the with the Instagram post, but I can't make shirts or apparel of any kind. And we have, you know, Bryson and not yet, but hey, we're gonna work on it. But I got Bryson and Travis here who are so amazing with that, and so we get to put that out, and you know, also get to work with some other apparel brands. We got something big that we're hopefully gonna get down the line as well. And then also, like you said, just guests, because literally, I have so many conversations with people where I'd be like, dang, this would be great on a podcast. Like literally, because when you start doing, when I started producing music, you start hearing things in music, and you're like, oh, this is like they did this or this. But like since starting this podcast, you realize how much wisdom is just said in conversation. I mean, like literally, to fangirl over Verge, because Verge is amazing. But like me and my friends Jeremy and Kobe, shout out to them. We were just talking about like just how amazing Verge is. Like literally every conversation that you leave with this man, like is you gain something out of it because he's so intentional about his words and what he says. And he has a testimony that he has to tell, and it's so encouraging, impactful to us. And so we want to be able to put out a platform for that, and just have guests and stuff like that. And not every conversation is gonna be like Verge level wisdom, because Verge is gonna set the bar pretty high.
Hey, Verge is like the Tim Ross of Mississippi State.
Yeah, Tim, literally. Some conversations may be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got a buddy. He from the Caribbean, or not the Caribbean. Yeah, he is from the Caribbean. He's from Trinidad, and he talks about wanting to get on the podcast. Shout out Dante, and like But even he has some wisdom to share. But like his conversation looks completely different, growing up in a different country than us, and like his whole perspective and the way that he goes about his life is very. It sounds stereotypical, but it's very Islander vibes. Like he be chilling, he be having a good time, but like he still gets. He's a very capable, a very accomplished person, and so it's like, okay, I want to hear about like how you go about life and stuff like that. And so, all in all, I'm just really excited for guests and for all, just really everything. It's going to be a cool season. I think another thing, and it's not necessarily about Young Vagabond, but like one thing that that's been a kind of recurring theme recently is as we get ready to go back home, a lot of our friends are new believers. You know what I'm saying? They're started growing in their faith and going back home. I know for me, like summer camps, it's an easy time to backslide back into bad habits or into an old lifestyle and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's going to be so cool to see, because we've been encouraging and saying, let's use this time to be intentional, how people are going to grow, how our listeners are going to grow, what stories we're going to hear from our listeners of how they grew over the summer. Because this summer, it's really about what you make of it. I know that sounds cheesy to say, but it really is about what you make of it. Are you going to use this time to grow? Are you going to use this time to backslide? Because you can't stay in the middle. Because if you're not growing, you're moving backwards. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Don't let the break you.
He's so good at that. Like, he's so good at that. Every time, I'm like, wow. But no, I think that's really what we're excited for and looking forward to, man. And so, do you have any closing remarks as we finish out season 1?
Man, just thank y'all. But also, man, y'all just keep going, bro. Stay the course, stay the path. Be patient with yourself. Be gracious with yourself. And like I said, the hardest thing to do is just start. So whatever that looks like for you, start, keep going, keep pushing, and know that we're right behind y'all.
Yes, we love you guys so much. Like we said, thank you for all the people who share our content. Thank you for all the people who subscribe and followed from day one. Thank you for all the people who have watched all our videos. We really appreciate that and have shared our clips. We're excited. We're going to be putting out a lot of clips over the summer, so there's going to be a lot of opportunities to share our content. So I hope that you do that. But regardless, we love you. We thank you so much. And what do we say, Bryson?
Look, y'all be blessed. Don't stress. Do less and let God take care of it.
Yeah,
I need a bag. Como se dice? I make a banger that got it on replay. Why they talking about he say, she say?